Hi, my name is Taylor Hood, and I am interviewing Luis Gonzalez, who is the owner and founder of Sales Scorekeeper. This interview is taking place on March 3rd, 2015. Mr. Gonzalez, can you explain a little more about what the type of business Sales Scorekeeper is and what city and state you operate out of?
Sales Scorekeeper is a web application that's on the cloud that automates the process of calculating and processing sales commissions for office equipment companies in the U.S. And we are based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Okay. And can you tell me how many employees you have currently?
We currently have 6 employees. Three of them are developers, and two are support staff, and I am the sixth person.
Okay. And are any of these employees family members? And if so, what capacity are they involved?
There is one employee, Samantha Jarrell, who is our vice president of operations, and she is my sister-in-law. And like I said, her capacity is that of operations and implementation and support.
Okay, great. Can you tell me a little bit more about yourself professionally prior to starting this company?
Okay, yes, I'd love to. I started an office equipment company in 1986 and grew that company to about $20 million in revenues and about 130 employees. That company was based in South Florida, and it covered sales of office equipment, copiers, at that time faxes, printers, large formats, videos. We did printing. So we served B2B, business to business in the South Florida area. We grew and we became one of the nation's premier Sharp distributors in the country. And I ran that company for those years. Also, during those years, I was part of the Sharp Electronics Dealer Council Advisory Board. With that information and how that was, we were acquired by Sharp Electronics in 2007. So at that time, we sold the company to Sharp, and I had an employment contract for 5 years, which I completed. In that capacity, I was the president of my local branch at the time, which I sold to them. Eventually, I was a director of all the branches they had purchased in the U.S. And my last position was a senior vice president of all direct sales for the United States of all Sharp electronic products.
Okay,
So
great.
that's prior to Sales Scorekeeper.
Great. So this isn't the first business you've opened. So can you tell me a little bit about what was your inspiration to start this particular business?
Well, so the office equipment business is run by direct sales. So there are direct sales forces throughout the country that work for these dealerships, and there's probably somewhere around 2,500 to 3,000 of these dealerships around the country, and there's approximately 10,000 to 15,000 sales representatives around the country that work for these companies. So part of my job as a senior vice president of Sharp Electronics was I visited dealers, and I saw that the process of calculating the commissions and processing and putting them through work approvals and then getting analytic reports such as stack rankings or return on investment or profitabilities were very difficult and very cumbersome. So I had a background in software development, so I looked into it. And after I left Sharp, I started to look at what would be a good way to solve that problem because it was a serious problem in this particular segment of business, the office equipment industry, and there was nobody doing it. So after careful research, we came up with a plan on how to work with that, how to do it, how to build an application that would work. And it's a very, very sore subject. In most cases, all dealerships are doing the commission calculation and processing and payment reports on spreadsheets, which is high rates of error, a lot of problems, confusion, inaccuracies, no transparency back to the rep. So those are all the things that we wanted to solve, and that's why we started the company Sales Scorekeeper.
Okay. Can you give me a little insight onto how much time and planning actually went into this business before you were able to be operational?
time in planning was probably over 12 months. And that was basically not from an operation standpoint, but from actually building a viable product that could be released to the customer. So we first went out and did market research of what we needed, what type of comp plans were out there, what was being used, what were some of the unique features that some companies may have, or what were some of the unique problems they would have. So we first did some research. We then came back and put together a plan on how to build an application for that. Once we had built that, then we went back to those same people and kind of told them what our thoughts of how we would build something to fix what they were doing, and got some agreement on that, and then started to build it. All that probably took somewhere about a year to a year and a half to complete that process. And while we were doing that, we also had some beta versions out and some things like that, which we were testing. Once we had all that, then we had a viable product. Then we were able to start really delivering the application to our clients.
Okay, and kind of on that same note, what was your biggest hurdle in getting the business going?
The biggest hurdle has probably been obtaining code writers that have business sense or business knowledge, so that they understand not just what they're coding, but why they're coding it has probably been the biggest challenge. And having that is difficult, and finding actual coders that want to work full time and understand all the processes that are in place has been the toughest. So I would say that the human side of it has been the most difficult part.
Okay, and what would your target market be for Sales Scorekeeper?
So our target market for Sales Scorekeeper are copier dealers in the U.S. that employ 5 to 7 salespeople or more. That is our broad target. Our exact target right now is we're looking for really copier dealers in the U.S. that have probably 10 to 15 plus reps, have multiple comp plans, and then we can drill down to we even are looking for specific uses of software. So we're looking for copier dealers who are using a product called Compass Sherpa, which is a copier company specific software CRM. And we're also looking for dealers who are using an ERP called eAutomate. eAutomate owns approximately 60 or 70% of the market share, and Compass Sherpa probably owns somewhere around 45 to 55% of the market share. So that's our main focus. Our roadmap focus down the road will probably be to look for people selling medical equipment. Is probably our next target market.
Okay, and in running this business, do you have a typical day, or does it pretty much change every day?
It changes pretty much every day, but especially we're still what I would call a startup. We're 3 years in, so we're still a startup, and there's still a lot of things that are being worked out. But my typical day basically is sitting down with support people and developers and coming up with solutions, or dissecting somebody's comp plan to see how that fits into what we do, or what tools we need to add to do that. So that's my typical day is pretty much trying to work with the comp plans that are given to us to fit into our program.
Okay. And as far as when you initially, had the idea to start this business, what did you do to advertise or maybe spread the word about a business? I know it can be hard when you're just starting.
Right. So we basically did trade shows. We did user group shows. We did an eAutomate user group show, which is, like I said, the leading ERP. We advertised in industry newsletters that are available. We attended manufacturer shows, and we also did a partnership direct mail email marketing with both Compass Sherpa and eAutomate.
Okay. And what would you say is the most satisfying thing about owning your own business, as opposed to, some of the positions you might have had in Sharp, where you're actually working for somebody? What do you enjoy about working for yourself, I guess?
I think what I enjoyed the most, and what I liked least about working for a large corporation was the ability to impact employees' lives by giving them jobs, giving them help, uh, teaching them, helping them with when their families have problems, and really becoming a family-oriented business. And that's how I always ran my business, is that we cared about our employees. And I'm not saying anything bad about big business, but HR laws and certain constraints in certain areas don't let you do that. And in a small private business, you have a lot more flexibility to help your employees, to grow your employees, and really to provide a place for them to expand. And while they're doing that, they're helping the business, which in turn is helping you. So that's, the more you give them, the more that's given back to you.
Great. And the last question I have for you is, what is the best advice you could give someone attempting to start their own business?
Um, is a lot of careful planning, and the understanding that it's not a straight road. It's a very, very bumpy, very curvy, changes every day road. Things don't, and most times don't work out the plan. So be ready for a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles, and keep the persistence to overcome those, and you'll be successful. If you let any of those things that I guarantee you will happen, you know, take you off the road, then you'll be done. So I think the most important thing is the persistence and understanding that owning your own business is not a job; it's a life, and you have to be ready for that. And obviously, you have to be ready for the financial commitment that's going to be required up front.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing with us about Sales Scorekeeper.
Thank you very much, and good luck on your project.